Rod Stewart, an iconic figure in the world of rock and pop music, has lived a life that mirrors the peaks and valleys of a career defined by fame, fortune, scandal, and personal struggles. Known for his distinctive raspy voice and electrifying stage presence, Stewart carved a niche for himself in the music world with songs like Maggie May, Do You Think I'm Sexy, and Tonight's the Night. His career spanned decades, earning him a place among the most beloved and enduring stars of his generation. However, Stewart's extraordinary journey is as much about his personal battles as it is about his musical triumphs, filled with tales of health crises, tumultuous relationships, and the unbreakable spirit that helped him rise above it all. Early success. The making of a star, Rod. Stewart's rise to fame wasn't just a product of his talent, but also of his raw charisma and unmistakable style. Born on January 10, 1945 in Highgate, London, Stewart grew up in a working-class family. From an early age, he was drawn to music and became enamored with rock and roll. Influenced by the likes of Chuck Berry and the Faces, Stewart's voice quickly became a defining feature of his work. His early career was shaped by collaborations with various British bands, but it was his time with the Faces that truly set him on the path to stardom. When Stewart finally went solo in the early 1970s, it marked the beginning of an era of unparalleled success. His distinctive raspy voice, along with his ability to fuse rock, folk, and soul, struck a chord with audiences worldwide. His debut solo album, An Old Raincoat Won't Ever Let You Down, 1969, was followed by a string of commercially successful albums, solidifying Stewart's reputation as a rock icon. Yet, despite his fame, the journey to the top wasn't without its struggles. The struggles beneath the spotlight. Rod Stewart's personal life has been equally as dramatic as his musical career, if not more so. Known for his high-profile relationships and tumultuous marriages, Stewart's personal affairs have often been a subject of public fascination. Stewart was never one to shy away from a whirlwind romance. His first marriage to Alana Hamilton in 1979 was the beginning of a series of relationships that would be heavily scrutinised by the press. Although Stewart's music was widely celebrated, his personal life was far from perfect. His party-loving lifestyle, marked by excessive drinking and rock and roll decadence, placed a strain on his relationships. Stewart openly admitted to his own shortcomings in the past, including his failure to properly balance his career with family life. His marriage to Alana ended in 1984, partly due to his inability to let go of his youthful indulgence. However, Stewart's romantic entanglements didn't end there. After his divorce from Hamilton, Stewart had a long-term relationship with model Kelly Emberg, with whom he had a daughter, Ruby Stewart. Despite the depth of their bond, their relationship, like his previous marriage, ended after 7 years. Stewart's second marriage, this time to supermodel Rachel Hunter, lasted nearly a decade and was marked by the ups and downs that often accompany high-profile unions. Stewart, reflecting on this marriage, admitted that the age gap between him and Rachel caused a rift in their relationship that he hadn't fully anticipated. Yet, despite their separation, Stewart and Hunter remained on good terms, raising 2 children together, Renee and Liam Stewart. Throughout these turbulent relationships, Stewart never lost sight of the importance of love. In a candid interview, he revealed that he learned valuable lessons from his past mistakes, particularly the importance of communication and compromise in maintaining a successful relationship. He shared that he now understood the significance of not going to bed angry, a mantra he lives by in his marriage to Penny Lancaster, whom he married in 2007. A battle with health, the shadow of illness. In 2000, the world was shocked by the news that Stewart had been diagnosed with thyroid cancer, a battle that threatened not only his life, but his career as well. Known for his powerful and distinctive voice, Stewart's identity as a musician was tied to his ability to perform and sing. The diagnosis of thyroid cancer, discovered during a routine tumour scan, sent waves of concern across his fan base and the music industry. The thyroid cancer diagnosis came at a time when Stewart was at the peak of his career. His distinctive raspy voice, which had become his signature sound, was at risk. The surgery to remove the tumour posed a significant threat to his vocal cords, which had been damaged by a benign tumour in the past. The risks were immense, but Stewart was determined to take action. He underwent the surgery in May 2000, with a recovery period that would change his life forever. For a period of 9 months after the surgery, Stewart was unable to sing, a fact that greatly affected his confidence and identity. He feared that he might never sing again. His voice, once raw and raspy, would never be the same. But with intense vocal therapy and a commitment to rehabilitation, Stewart slowly regained his ability to sing. Although his voice was no longer the same, it evolved into a warmer, more refined tone. The journey of recovery, however, was not just about regaining his voice. It was about rebuilding his life. In 2019, Stewart faced yet another health battle when he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. He battled this disease for 3 years before triumphing over it. Stewart's ability to overcome multiple life-threatening illnesses made him a symbol of resilience and perseverance, and it deepened his connection to his fans, who admired his strength and determination. Personal life: the complexity of relationships and family. Beyond his marriages and relationships, Stewart's family life is both colourful and complex. Stewart has fathered 8 children from 5 different women, and while this may seem unconventional, it highlights the deep emotional ties he has with his children. Over the years, Stewart has worked to build strong relationships with his children, even as they faced the public scrutiny that comes with being the offspring of a rock star. In addition to his own children, Stewart has become a proud grandfather. As his children grew older, Stewart found new joys in his family life, with his grandchildren becoming an important part of his world. This new phase in his life led Stewart to reflect on the future, and in recent years, he has expressed his desire to slow down and spend more time with his family. Stewart's 3rd marriage to Penny Lancaster in 2007 brought him a sense of stability that he had longed for throughout his earlier years. Together, they have 2 sons, Alistair and Aidan, and Stewart has described Lancaster as his soulmate, a source of both emotional and spiritual support. Their strong relationship, founded on mutual respect and open communication, stands in stark contrast to his past relationships, offering Stewart a sense of peace and fulfillment that had eluded him for many years. Despite his family's concerns about his health and his need to slow down, Stewart remains dedicated to his fans. He continues to tour and perform, although in recent years, he has hinted that his future concerts will be more about exploring new musical avenues rather than simply revisiting the rock and roll glory days. The early years. From humble beginnings to musical ambition. Rod Stewart's story begins in the heart of London. Born on January 10, 1945, in North London, Stewart was the youngest of 5 children. His father, Robert Joseph Stewart, was a Scottish builder from Edinburgh, and his mother, Elsie Rebecca Gilbert, hailed from Upper Holloway, London. Despite being raised in a modest home above his father's newsagent shop on Archway Road, Stewart's childhood was filled with warmth and affection. The family, though not wealthy, lived comfortably, and Stewart recalls his early years with fondness, cherishing the simple pleasures of home life. Growing up during World War II, Stewart's early experiences were shaped by the spirit of post-war Britain. His academic performance, however, was less than stellar, and he left Highgate Primary School with little distinction. It wasn't until his teenage years that his true passions began to emerge. While initially fascinated by model railways, his heart soon gravitated toward football, where he showed considerable promise. As an ardent Arsenal fan, Stewart was a talented player and became the best footballer in his family. He even played as a centre-back for the Middlesex schoolboys team, cementing his reputation as a promising young athlete. In 1960, Stewart faced a life-defining decision when he attended a football trial at Brentford FC. Although he didn't make the team, the experience forced him to reflect on his future. Torn between pursuing a career in football or music, Stewart chose the latter, humorously noting the appeal of getting drunk and making music. From that moment on, his fate as a musician was sealed, and he began to immerse himself in the vibrant world of folk music. Music as a calling. Stewart's entry into the music scene. As Rod Stewart began to find his footing in the music world, he became drawn to the folk music scene, inspired by the likes of Ewan MacColl, Woody Guthrie and Bob Dylan. This period of his life was marked by a beatnik lifestyle, where Stewart lived on a houseboat in Shoreham-by-Sea and participated in political activism. He became involved in the campaign for nuclear disarmament, participating in marches and protests that defined the social and political landscape of the time. During this period of exploration, Stewart busked alongside folk singer Whiz Jones, travelling across Paris and Barcelona. His time in Spain, however, ended abruptly when he was deported for vagrancy in 1963. This incident, while a setback, did not deter Stewart's ambition. Instead, it served to solidify his determination to pursue music as his career. This period of travel and experimentation was crucial in shaping his unique sound, which would later captivate audiences around the world. In the early 1960s, Stewart auditioned for legendary record producer Joe Meek in Denmark Street, although the session ended abruptly. Nevertheless, Stewart's talent did not go unnoticed, and he continued to build his reputation in London's music scene. He began to work with several British bands, eventually finding his place in the Faces, a group that would play a significant role in shaping his career. From the Faces to stardom, Stewart's solo breakthrough. Rod Stewart's time with the Faces was a crucial chapter in his musical evolution. The band, known for its rough-around-the-edges rock and roll attitude, was the perfect vehicle for Stewart's vocal style and charismatic stage presence. But it was his decision to go solo that marked the beginning of his meteoric rise to global superstardom. In the early 1970s, Stewart embarked on his solo career, releasing An Old Raincoat Won't Ever Let You Down in 1969, followed by a string of successful albums throughout the decade. Songs like Maggie May and Do You Think I'm Sexy became instant hits, earning him worldwide recognition. His distinctive raspy voice and eclectic musical style, which combined rock, folk, and soul, set him apart from his peers. Stewart quickly became one of the biggest stars of the 1970s, captivating audiences with his raw energy and magnetic stage presence. Yet, as his career flourished, so did the complications in his personal life. His rock and roll lifestyle, marked by late-night parties and frequent romances, began to take its toll on his relationships. The first of his high-profile marriages, to Alana Hamilton, would prove to be the beginning of a pattern of tumultuous relationships that would plague Stewart's life for years to come. The struggles behind the spotlight, family, heartbreak, and abandonment. While Rod Stewart's professional life soared to new heights, his personal life was fraught with complications, none more poignant than his estranged relationship with his firstborn daughter, Sarah Streeter. Born in 1963, Sarah's life story would forever be marked by her father's rejection. Rod's relationship with Sarah's mother, Susanna Buffy, began when they were both teenagers. The couple's brief romance ended when Buffy became pregnant at the age of 17. Despite the responsibility of impending fatherhood, Stewart was unprepared for the challenges of raising a child and distanced himself from Buffy and their newborn daughter. When Sarah was born, Stewart was reportedly dragged to the hospital by a friend, where he cursed himself for the situation. He never visited his daughter after that, and Sarah grew up without knowing her father. For the first 7 months of her life, Sarah was raised by Susanna, but due to financial and emotional difficulties, she was forced to place her daughter in a hospice. When Sarah was 4 years old, she was adopted by Evelyn and Gerald Theron, who raised her as their own. Sarah would not learn the identity of her biological father until she was 18, when the truth came to light in a shocking revelation. As Sarah's life unfolded, she realized that she would never have a true relationship with her biological father. She sent her wedding invitation to Stewart in the hopes that he would be a part of her big day, but the only gesture he offered was a bouquet of lilies, a card signed by him and his wife Penny, and a £5,000 Harrods gift voucher. Stewart's secretary had promised a phone call on Sarah's wedding day, but the call never came. These moments of rejection left Sarah feeling abandoned by the man who should have been her father. The most recent interaction between the two occurred in 2005, when Sarah contacted Stewart, who invited her to one of his performances at Blenheim Palace in Oxfordshire. However, when Sarah arrived, she was not allowed backstage due to security restrictions. Stewart, having already left by the time she arrived, further deepened the wound that had been growing for years. First steps in the music industry. The dimensions and the London R&B scene. In October 1963, Stewart took his first significant step into the music world by joining the Dimensions, an R&B group, as a harmonica player and part-time singer. This marked Stewart's first professional experience as a musician and was an important moment in his career. The Dimensions were an essential part of London's lively rhythm and blues scene, and through this band, Stewart had the opportunity to hone his harmonica skills while learning from some of the most talented musicians in the city. While his time with the group was short-lived, largely due to internal conflicts, it was instrumental in shaping his musical identity. Although the Dimensions were not hugely successful, Stewart's brief involvement in the band provided him with valuable insight into the London music scene. Contrary to popular belief, Stewart did not contribute to the recording of Millie Small's hit My Boy Lollipop, as some have speculated. Instead, it was likely Peter Hodgman of the Dimensions who played the harmonica on the track, not Stewart. Despite these early setbacks and missteps, Stewart's exposure to R&B and soul music during this time became foundational to his career. A pivotal encounter. Long John Baldry and the birth of professional music. Rod Stewart's career took a significant turn in January 1964 at Twickenham Station, where he was discovered by the renowned blues musician Long John Baldry. Stewart was playing his harmonica, and Baldry, who was an influential figure in the London music scene, was immediately struck by the young musician's raw talent. The encounter resulted in Stewart joining Baldry's band, and he was given a weekly salary of £35. This moment marked the true beginning of Stewart's professional career as a musician. As part of Baldry's band, Stewart's talent began to receive wider recognition, and his fashion sense, which was influenced by the mod subculture, made him stand out even more. His growing popularity in the London music scene led to performances at well-known venues such as the Marquee Club, one of the most iconic music clubs in the city. It was during this time that Stewart began to earn his nickname Rod the Mod, which reflected his fashionable, youthful demeanour and his increasing presence in the music world. Though his time with Baldry's band was an essential chapter in Stewart's early career, it was only the beginning of what would become an illustrious journey. His debut uncredited recording on the track Up Above My Head was another key moment, showcasing Stewart's emerging vocal talent and his ability to contribute meaningfully to music beyond just being a harmonica player. The early solo years, struggles, setbacks, and musical ambition. Despite his early success, Stewart's road to stardom was far from smooth. In August 1964, Stewart signed with Decca Records, eager to establish his own musical identity. He recorded his first single, Good Morning Little Schoolgirl, but the song failed to chart. Stewart's rejection of mainstream, commercially appealing song choices in favour of recording tracks by blues legend Sonny Boy Williamson led to a falling out with Baldry. After this brief fallout, Stewart decided to strike out on his own and sought to build a career independent of Baldry's influence. In 1965, Stewart co-founded the band Steam Packet with Baldry and other musicians. Although the group performed alongside major acts like the Rolling Stones, Steam Packet never recorded any music due to contractual issues, and they ultimately disbanded. However, this period allowed Stewart to refine his stage presence and his musical style, and in 1966 he joined Shotgun Express. Although the band played non-original music, Stewart's dissatisfaction with their lack of creative control led him to focus more on songwriting. These early years were filled with frustration as Stewart struggled to find his voice as an artist. He faced numerous setbacks, including a series of failed projects, but it was these challenges that ultimately pushed him to refine his musical approach and begin exploring the signature blend of rock, folk and soul that would define his later career. The rise to fame. Maggie May and the birth of a solo career. Rod Stewart's solo career officially began with the release of his debut album, An Old Raincoat Won't Ever Let You Down, in 1969. The album, while not initially a massive commercial success, showcased Stewart's distinct blend of folk, rock and soul. However, it was the release of Maggie May in 1971 that catapulted him to international fame. The song, with its catchy melody and heartfelt lyrics, became an instant hit and earned Stewart widespread recognition. Maggie May went on to become one of his signature tracks, and its success marked the beginning of Stewart's reign as a solo artist. As his career progressed, Stewart continued to explore different musical styles, from rock and folk to rhythm and blues, all while maintaining his signature raspy voice and charismatic stage presence. Albums like Every Picture Tells a Story and Never a Dull Moment solidified his place in the pantheon of rock legends, and Stewart's music became the soundtrack to the 1970s for millions of fans. Evolution of sound, disco, new wave, and continuous reinvention. In 1978, Stewart took a significant risk by releasing the disco-influenced song Do You Think I'm Sexy from the album Blondes Have More Fun. The track was a massive commercial success, though it sparked controversy among some fans and critics who felt Stewart was abandoning his rock roots for commercial gain. Despite the backlash, Stewart stood by the song, viewing it as an experiment with the prevailing musical trends of the time. The success of Do You Think I'm Sexy helped him expand his audience and solidify his place as a global pop superstar. Throughout the 1980s, Stewart continued to evolve his sound, incorporating new wave and synth pop elements into his music with albums like Foolish Behaviour and Tonight I'm Yours. Despite occasional criticism, particularly for his decision to perform in South Africa during the apartheid era, Stewart remained a major commercial force, achieving significant chart success throughout the decade. Later years, a legacy secured. Rod Stewart's career continued to flourish into the 1990s and beyond. His album Vagabond Heart, 1991, and the hit single Rhythm of My Heart reaffirmed his status as a music icon. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1994, cementing his legacy as one of the greatest artists of all time. In the 2000s, Stewart experimented with different musical styles, including an album of standards, The Great American Songbook. More recently, Stewart has collaborated with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra on the 2019 album You're in My Heart, a reimagining of his greatest hits. He continues to release new music and perform live, captivating fans with his timeless hits and new material alike. With a career that spans decades, Rod Stewart remains a living legend whose influence on the music world is undeniable. His ability to reinvent himself, push musical boundaries, and maintain his unique voice has ensured his place in the annals of music history. Whether it's through his electrifying live performances, his memorable hits, or his inspiring career journey, Rod Stewart's legacy will continue to resonate for generations to come.